been a week or so.
It's only Tuesday.
I'm in since the last time we chatted.
Yeah. Kind of.
Kinda chatted with our fellow listeners.
Chloe.
I just found a wheat thin on my table, and I don't know when it's from, but I'm going to eat it.
At least it still sounds crunchy.
Yeah, it's like from like the past 7 days.
Well, you said you didn't know.
Like what day? Okay. Sorry about that. It's there.
I'm wearing my headband, and Amy hasn't been wearing headbands since the beginning of the season.
What
she
the
got her
hell,
swoop bang
Amy?
back.
I know, in like a good ponytail game.
Yeah.
Very voluminous, whatever.
It'd be nice if we could have hairstylists do our hair every day.
Right? Like when I was 15, 16, I could not do a good ponytail. I still can't.
No. You done looking at yourself?
It's just like really poofy.
What?
My hair.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. My 2-day French braid. Decided to take it out.
Mm-hmm.
Hi,
it's good
cats.
You don't want breakage.
Yeah. Hi, Finn. You gonna tell your aunt all about the mean vet who called you fat? Ugh. You poor boy. I said it's okay. The doctors tell me I'm fat too.
Yeah. Our vet said, yeah, Zappa's got a little extra weight on him, but who doesn't? So that was nice.
I mean, like, Finn's 6, so like 13 pounds for a 6-year-old. I was more like, oh, Bean's gained 6 pounds in the past year, and he's not 2 yet, and he's only half a pound less than Finn. Might be a problem.
Bean went from being a gangly teenager to an adult.
You're an adult, Bean. Yeah. Hi, Finn. Ooh, you pulled my headphones out. Or earbuds. Finn's finally coming to me. He's been ignoring me for a day.
Oh.
Yeah. Hi. Okay. You're gonna help? We got a nice co-host today. So, welcome back, guys, to another episode of Cardboard Empire TV Edition.
Welcome back.
Secret Life
back
of
again.
Nature.
Cardboard Empire's back. Tell your friends.
And their friends. And their
tell
friends.
Your friends. Tell your friends. Tell your friends. Tell your friends.
Friends.
To listen.
Wow,
Every
maybe
Monday and Thursday.
Maybe we'll get a record deal after this. Is that next
on
the list?
A record deal. Do it independent.
Yes.
Then no one takes your money.
Oh, good, Bean. You're going to come up here too? We got plenty of room. Anywho, so this week we watched season 2, episodes 11 to 17. 18?
And I don't know if you check out IMDb while you're also watching.
No.
But
oh, hi, Bean.
There was
a talk? Oh, Bean's going to talk.
Last week, we ended with episode 12.
Yeah. Jesus.
And that was like their mid-season ending because that came out on September 7th, 2009. And then episode 13 that we are starting with today came out January 4th, 2010.
I kind of thought that. Also, I'm sorry, I said episodes 11 to 18. I meant 13.
Yes.
Maybe that's when Amy's hair decided to change.
Maybe.
Also, the fact that Robbie is like a huge baby now.
Yeah, their baby sizes don't really stay consistent with the ages they're supposed to be.
Yeah, John is
looking like he's almost 2.
Yeah, and he was 10 months when Or no, he was 10 weeks during summer break when Ben left.
Because he was born in the spring.
Yeah, so when Ben left, he was 10 weeks in. So he's supposed to be like 6 months old, and he definitely looks older than 1.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyways.
Episode 13. This week was another.
You gotta let me say the name and the synopsis.
I was just talking. Okay, go. I'm gonna go shut my door.
Season 2, episode 13. You don't know what you've got. The gang ditches school, causing the school counselor to chase them down. It starts out with Ben chilling in his room, and he finds out that his friend from Italy, Maria, is coming to visit.
Yeah.
He thought she was going to wait until the summer, but no, she's coming now.
She is, and he is talking to Henry and Alice about that. And
yes,
Alice mostly tells Ben to break up with Amy. And Henry's kind of like, you should just let it fade out slowly.
Just ghost her, bro.
Yeah, essentially. But what I was going to say was, like, these episodes was another one where it could have been, like, 2 episodes, maybe.
Yeah, I definitely could have gone without the 3rd, 4th, and 5th episodes of the 6 we've done today.
It's only been, like, 2 days in Secret Life World.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you just turn her ring light on?
My makeup mirror lights.
Oh, close enough. But yeah, so
I noticed it was kind of dark on my end.
So Ben is talking to Henry and Alice about his situation with Amy and Maria. And who is listening in? Lauren and Madison. Dumb and Dumber.
Yes, the gaggle of girls.
And so,
they interrogate Ben.
Yeah, and so they're basically like, are you going to break up with Amy? Blah, blah, blah. And basically said, like, you can't break up with Amy. And yeah.
Going to Amy's hair, my next note after this, when we finally see her, is, Swoop Bang is back.
Swoop, there it is. And then, so, Lauren and Madison are telling him that he can't break up with Amy, and then they make a swine flu joke, which I thought was very timely for the times that we're in. Basically saying, like, I don't remember something about, like, him having swine flu or something, but he's a pig. And I was like, all right. Very timely. And then we do see Amy.
I just Googled, like, because when swine flu was a thing, and it was around when this was filmed, 2009, 2010.
Yeah, I definitely remember, like, swine flu when I was in high school, and people are like, oh, don't go, because, like, there were...
I couldn't remember what one it was, because there was also the SARS...
And H1N1.
And the avian flu, the bird flu, yeah.
I think, like, the bird flu and swine flu were, like, around the same time. And then H1N1 was, like, towards the end of my high school career or early college.
Yeah, hard to keep them all track.
Yeah.
Keep track of them all.
Yeah. So, yeah, we do see Amy again, and her and Anne went on a little vacay with their babies to get away.
To Palm Springs.
Yeah, to Palm Springs. They say that they're going to go visit Mimsy, but they took a few days to themselves first. We later find out it's because George questioned Robbie's paternity. And so Anne's like, fuck you, I'm leaving. Also, Anne, like, rebounded good, while Molly Ringwald rebounded good from having twins.
Right?
Like, she's like a 40-year-old woman who had twins. And, like, granted, she has Hollywood. But
yeah.
And I'm sure, like, she's made a lot of money from 16 Candles Breakfast Club stuff.
Pretty in Pink. From John Hughes.
Yeah, so it's like she's been getting royalty all this time, so she, like, even though she was out of work for however long, or out of known work.
The eye.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, and she got bangs.
Yeah. She did, and that suits her.
Yeah, so they're on a vacation with the babies, and then we go to Adrian and Grace are talking about red hair being recessive, and that's kind of like making the wheels spin for Adrian because she's heard about Robbie's potential paternity not being George's son. So she's starting to question things that we later find out.
Yeah.
And then Adrian and Grace talk about oral sex. So I guess Grace...
This is the season of oral sex.
Yeah. Apparently, Jack and Grace decided to fool around, and she gave him head, and he didn't finish. And also she mentioned that he did not reciprocate, and she's like, people do that? Like, guys do that to girls? And Adrian's like, yeah.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, so Grace is freaking out because she thinks she's bad at giving head, and Adrian's basically like, you can't be bad at it.
I think you can.
Yeah. And then we kind of flash over to Ben and Ricky, and they're talking about Amy being gone and kind of their situation, and Ben is a little stressed, so Ricky suggests that they ditch school, and Jack overhears, so they're all gonna go ditch school.
Yep.
And then
everybody is.
Yeah, and then Adrian suggests to Grace that they get out, and then Ashley and Griffin overhear that.
Tag along with them.
So they're in a car, and now Lauren and Madison and Henry and Alice are ditching.
Because they feel left out.
Yeah, and so after that, Joe, the old gambling guy, brings us to be introduced to the new
they finally start saying his name again, so we learn it.
So he brings us to be introduced to the new school counselor because he wants to set up some quid pro quo with her. And the new school counselor is, I don't know her name, but she's the girl.
Maya Bollock.
Yes, she's from Big Bang Theory, and she is the famous gif of her wearing a tiara that people had always sent to me.
She wears a tiara?
In Big Bang Theory, who is the main character guy?
I don't know.
The nerdy one who got his own spin-off show. But he gifts her a tiara, a diamond tiara, and instead of like a ring. And she puts it on, and she's like, I'm a princess. It's like a funny moment because she's like the nerdy scientist girl, but she wants to be a princess.
She's also Blossom.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So we're introduced to her, and we learn why she's at this school is because there is rumors that she had sex with a student, but she didn't. She took an 18-year-old to prom.
To make a political statement.
Yes. So she got fired and is now at this school. I was also going to ask, because I didn't want to do my own research. The school is named after Ulysses S. Grant. Is he like a good guy? Is he a good guy?
I don't know.
I didn't want to do my own research. Sorry.
Is anybody a good guy anymore?
No.
He was the 18th president of the United States, and he led the Union Army as commanding general of the United States Army and winning the American Civil War.
So he's decent. He did some things.
Yeah, on the surface level.
Yeah. So they're going to do some quid pro quo. And so Joe tells them about the students ditching. And so this counselor decides to call Jack. Jack doesn't give up much information. And then Grace and Adrian get a call from the school counselor, and that makes them to talk about having sex with minors. And because Kathleen's basically they were talking about Grace's mom, Kathleen, because her boyfriend's younger. So they were telling Grace, why don't you get back at your mom by dating an older guy? or dating a guy that guy's age, which I think he's like 28 or 38, something like that. I think 28. And they're like, well, that's illegal. And I don't remember what was said, but they talked about having sex with minors and kind of like, I don't know. It was just weird.
Yeah, and how the punishment gets worse the further apart the ages are. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Grace asks
Griffin about gay sex.
Yes, and he admits that he's sexually active but doesn't give details.
Mm-hmm. And then I had a thought, because I think this is when the counselor starts calling everyone.
Yeah.
It's like, how does she have all of their cell phone numbers?
Right. Like, I mean, I never gave my cell phone number to anyone at school.
No, all the school needed was like your parents' number.
Yeah.
In case of emergency.
Maybe Joe gave it to her, though. And then, so school counselor calls Griffin and he hangs up. And then Grace says, we're all going to get kicked out of school due to oral sex gone bad.
Yeah.
And then the counselor calls Alice, and she doesn't really say anything, and found out that her mom's like her therapist, or the therapist on the case for the school counselor's court case.
Oh, yeah. Court appointed therapist.
Yeah. And then everyone goes to the beach.
Yeah.
And I have Ricky is worried about Amy leaving and basically what that means for him and John. So Adrian really thinks that he should be getting some custody arrangement.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah. And then Adrian keeps talking about Robbie's paternity. She doesn't think that George is the father. And then Adrian also brings up that she thinks her mom is going to leave Ruben because she got offered a job in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Grace and Jack talking about their relationship and oral sex, and the fact that Madison gives oral sex to Jack. So he would rather be with a girl that gives oral.
Yeah.
And then a surprise visitor runs up to Ben, and it's Maria. And all I want to know is, how the hell did she find him?
Yeah, that was my thought too. How did Italian girl know they were at the beach? Corny Italian music as she's running.
Yeah. And so all the friends are like, oh my God, who's this girl? And then we cut to the school. And
I think it's also worth mentioning that when she did arrive to the beach, she was running and they were playing that corny music. And then she jumps into Ben's arms and they're like spinning around in a circle.
Benito!
Like, you guys were just friends?
Yeah. Benito! So all the dads are talking at the school, and basically all the parents are there, and the moms are in a group and the dads are in a group. And they're talking about going to the beach and stuff. And Reverend Stone pisses me off by saying, well, boys will be boys. At least they're not doing coke or crack.
Yeah.
And then the kids show back up at school. And yeah. So they're all back at school. And then we go to Grace's house. And her mom are having a talk kind of about her and Jack and the relationship and how Grace doesn't want to have sex and she doesn't want to give head. And Kathleen decides to introduce Grace to masturbation.
Because I'm sure at 16 years old, this is the first time they're hearing about masturbation.
And so I think she was kind of like, well, I thought that's something that just guys do, blah, blah, blah. So Grace is introduced to masturbation. And then we go over to the Boykovich's house, and Leo is talking to Ben about girls, and specifically Amy, because Ben really wants to break up with Amy. Leo notices that Ben's condom supply is restocked. Yeah. And then we go over to Adrian's house, and she's hanging out with Ricky, and her dad takes that time to talk to Ricky about custody and saying, like, I can help you if you want. And Ricky's really hesitant because he's like, I can't afford to pay more child support. I can't afford. He's like, he basically is always saying, like, he's grateful that he even gets to see John, because he doesn't think that, like, he deserves to, because he's not a good guy. And then we go over to the Jurgens house, and George is feeding the dog.
Adrian's dad also said that you don't have to go to court. We could just do a mediation.
Oh, yeah.
And then just
we go
to get something on paper.
Then we go over to the Jurgens house, and George is feeding his dog beef stew because he ran out of dog food because Anne isn't there. And then Ricky calls Amy and is basically like, yo, when you coming home? But basically, well, he called Amy because he went over to see George after he talked to Ruben and was kind of like, hey, Ruben said I could do this. And then they called Amy from George's phone. But yeah, Amy's like, I'll come back when I want to come back.
Okay.
So that's the end of episode 13.
Then it's episode 14.
Yay.
Till it's gone. You see what they did there? Last episode was you don't know what you've got. This one was till it's gone. Anne runs into an ex-boyfriend, and Amy's attracted to his son.
Ooh. So this episode starts off by Ben reading a sex book. And Leo walks in and sees that, which was just awkward. And so Leo's kind of talking up again about girls and Maria and stuff. So Leo leaves. And then Maria was hiding in Ben's closet, and they're making out.
Oh, you found me, Benito. Why did she being portrayed like having the intelligence of a toddler?
Literally, like, this Italian portrayal is very Brenda Hampton.
Ugh.
And then we go over to Ash.
The accent is awful.
It's terrible. And then we go over to Ashley's, and her and Griffin's doing a face mask, like
shirtless. Griffin's doing a face mask, and he's shirtless. And Ashley's like, "Why are you shirtless?
Why do you keep pushing your boobs up?"
I'm like stretching my back.
Oh,
you know.
Yeah. And Griffin's like, oh, you think I'm attractive? But I like to mention he's doing one of the old school green clay masks.
Yeah, I also, because remember when Griffin was first introduced, and I was like, he is like the oldest 14-year-old ever because he's 23. And then it got me thinking, because Ashley's like actually her age in the show. She's like 14. The only one who is.
Really?
She was technically like 15.
Yeah.
She's the closest to her age. She's an actual teenager. I was like, that's kind of weird that they're being best friends, but they're almost a decade apart. Well,
the brother in Hannah Montana was 35 playing a 16-year-old.
I remember that. Yeah.
Because I think there was like a thing where, who is that wrestler that's like now an actor?
John Cena. Yeah, they're the same age.
Yeah. But yeah, and then George walks in, sees Griffin shirtless, and he's like, "You're gay. Like, you're good." And then
he wants to hang out with them.
George is so lonely. It's so sad. And Ashley's being a teenager and is like, "Go away, Dad." But Griffin gives him the face mask. And then we go to Adrian's house, and her and Ricky are going to have a sleepover. And
but Adrian would prefer to have popcorn.
Ricky, she's going to go pop the corn.
Because she doesn't want to have sex.
How she worded it was like, I'm going to go pop some corn. And I'm like, can you not? But no, and Ricky is so guilt-inducing. It's so annoying.
Yeah, these 6 episodes are just like the worst of the worst for the guys.
Yeah, so Ricky's
their worst selves.
Very annoyed that they're not having sex. Keeps trying to pressure Adrian. Keeps saying that, like, I deserve to have sex because I've been so good. Adrian keeps giving him reward kisses, and he's like, I just get a kiss. Like, that deserves sex. And then we're
Get
over
what
to
you get, boy.
yeah, and then we go over to Kathleen and her boyfriend, and his phone keeps ringing while having sex. So he ignores it. And then Grace is setting up her bedroom to masturbate, and she's setting it up
And
like
she just casually has a basket of rose petals lying around.
she's setting it up exactly how it was when her and Jack had sex.
I know. I just think it's still funny that she legit has like a basket for rose petals.
So she's setting it up. And then Leo walks in on Ben and Maria. And that was weird. And then they find out that her dad is some like big guy in Italy.
It's like part of the mob is I think what they were insinuating.
Yeah. So Maria goes home. Oh yeah, it's someone Leo knows. Yeah. And then we go to Anne and Amy, and they're in the grocery store, and some boy's flirting with Amy, giving her some eyes, and she likes it. So then she goes to go follow the boy, and then Anne...
Because that's what everyone does when you see someone attractive at the grocery store. You stalk them.
And then Anne gets someone to poke her in her shoulder, and it's her ex-boyfriend from high school. And they're talking, and he wants to hang out, and blah, blah, blah. And then...
And he, like, somehow knows everything that has happened to her family.
She's like, I forgot how small this town is. And it's like, we're from a small town, and no one would know stuff that I did in the city.
Yeah, Palm Springs is pretty large.
Yeah. And then we go over to Ruben and George, and they're talking. I'm not really sure.
You forgot to mention that when Amy's speaking with Anne's ex-boyfriend's son, Jimmy, she says her name is Nicolette.
Yeah, that's who the guy is.
Yeah.
So she's trying to like get a fake persona and have some fun.
Super awkward.
Yeah, and so basically, this Jimmy and his dad were setting this up so Anne and the dad could hang out, and Jimmy and Amy could, and it's super weird. Yeah, so Ruben and George talk.
Then George and Adrian. Adrian's dad.
I don't know what they talk about, because this was just like the worst episodes.
Yeah, I just wrote George and Adrian's dad having a chat.
Yeah, probably about Anne and stuff.
Yeah.
Then we get back to Ricky and Adrian, and apparently he was going to spend the night in her parents' house, whatever. But he's leaving because he's pissed that she's not having sex with him. So he's a douche.
Yeah.
And then Griffin and Ashley have a chat about relationships, and are they going to be in one? Are they not?
And what it's like to be gay in high school.
Yeah.
And how his brothers had such problems with it that he's just decided to just avoid relationships during high school.
Yeah. And then Jack comes over to Grace's house to talk, but he sees her little setup and thinks that she's cheating on him.
Yeah.
Then she's like, whatever, I don't care. And then Henry and Alice are now at Ben's house, and they're all talking about Maria. And Ben decides to call Adrian to talk and get some advice. Which brings us to Ricky, who was calling up
first, after Grace and Jack, we get a glimpse over to Grace's mom. And we find out that the phone calls that her boyfriend has been ignoring were from his mom. And she walks in on them because she's like, you're ignoring my calls? Yeah,
because since his brother died, they check in. And she knows everything about Kathleen, and they have a weird mom bonding moment.
Yeah, and then Grace's mom and her boyfriend talk, and she admits that she cheated on George in her first relationship. And he's like, you got any more secrets? And he's like, we can deal with cheating, but you can't be a Republican. And then she's like, oh yeah, I am a Republican, but I voted for Obama.
Yay.
Like, okay. And then Ricky.
Yeah, so Ricky calls up a friend to come over and take care of his problem, and it's Ruthie from Seventh Heaven being a bad girl.
Yeah. The youngest daughter from Seventh Heaven.
Her name is Zoe in this show, wearing a leather jacket, all bad girl Grace-like. And she's
got too much of a baby face to be a bad girl.
And she pulls out a condom, and it's like the weirdest condom wrapper. It's titled Condom, and it's got like weird rainbow fireworks on it. It's very dramatic. Yeah. And then Amy and John are home, but Anne didn't come home with. It turns out she got her license on the way to Palm Springs, and Anne
and her SUV.
Yeah, Anne gave her the SUV from David.
The brand new SUV.
Brand new SUV, not a car. It's an SUV.
And she just proceeds to be the biggest bitch to her dad ever.
Amy is still a bitch and says mean things.
Yeah.
And then Adrian's spine and calls Ben to let him know that Amy's home, but does not call Ricky. And then Adrian and her dad talk about her mom and her new job offer in New York and if she's going to take it or not and stuff. And then this is the next day. And Bunny at the butcher shop has a little chat with Ricky and calls him out for cheating on Adrian. Because she saw the security or the alarm went off.
Yeah.
And then Ben decides to be the one to tell Ricky that Amy's home, and Ricky's obviously pissed that he wasn't informed, and then also pissed that Ben was talking to Adrian.
Yeah.
And
so he leaves work to go over there.
Yeah, and then we go over to the Bowman's house, and Jack has a little chat with Tom to see who Grace was hanging out with last night. And Tom tells him that
hanging out with herself.
Yeah, which I think it's way too weird that Tom knows Grace was masturbating. And because it's not like she was using a vibrator or anything.
Sexual.
Like she was using her hand, not a vibrator.
We don't need to know the details.
And so it's not like he heard something or anything. Like it's just way too weird that he knows. And so Jack thinks that's funny. Also, Jeff calls Kathleen to talk about their chat last night and reassures Kathleen that he's not mad about the cheating, and he also lets it slip that he loves Kathleen. Aww. Republican and all. And then we go over to the Jurgens house, and Amy sort of apologizes to Ashley. She's like, "It's okay, you got the room. I'm happy for you because I have a brand new SUV."
Gotta really specify that it's a brand new SUV.
Not a car. And then Ricky confronts Amy about being a bitch and is like, "You can't be taking my son away, blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna go to court." Good.
Yeah.
And then we go over to Adrian's house, and Adrian gets a little phone call from Zoe. And why are you typing chat?
I just wanted to see how it worked.
Okay. Adrian gets a little phone call from Zoe, and she was like, "Hey, you fucked my boyfriend, so I fucked yours."
Yep.
In so many words. And Adrian is pissed. And that's that.
Episode 15, Loved and Lost. Ricky and Adrian get into a fight over money.
Yeah, that's it.
Because that's what Adrian got that phone call.
Adrian and drove over to Ricky's house. She drove over to Ricky's house. She meant to he wasn't answering her phone call because he was over at Amy's house. She meant to throw her phone through his apartment window, but missed and threw it through the butcher shop window. Still don't know how that phone shattered a whole window.
Oh, you know those old brick phones.
But it wasn't really a brick phone.
Still like a rock.
So Bunny tells Ricky about it that morning and is like, hey, I didn't call the cops, so we can't file an insurance claim. We have video. Adrian did this. It's on you.
Yep, so he has to pay for it unless they want to press charges.
Yeah, and so Ricky calls Ben to get Adrian's home phone number because, Ben and Adrian talk, but he doesn't have it. And Ben says he's avoiding school and Amy today.
Dun, dun, dun.
And then Ricky confronts Adrian, and I wrote, wow, annoying, toxic, wow.
Yep. I just didn't even write anything for this because I was like, this is just dumb.
Basically, he's like, you have to pay for the window, you suck. And she's like, well, you cheated on me. And he's like, well, I cheated on you because you cheated on me. And she's like, well, I cheated on you because you cheated on me, so I cheated on you. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
And then Ricky talks to Ashley about Amy and John, and Ashley's basically like, you should do something about it.
But I don't think you need to go to court because I don't think John deserves that.
Yeah, and then Ashley tells Ricky that him and Ben need to make their own fucking decisions without Adrian's input.
Yes, because Adrian has literally nothing to do with this.
And then we go over to Amy, and Lauren and Madison are telling Amy about Maria's arrival.
Yeah.
And Amy doesn't seem like that upset.
No, because they were already mostly broken up.
Yeah.
She's like, well, I already got a new boyfriend too, Jimmy.
Yeah, which she really doesn't.
Yeah. Like, yeah, we already know about Jimmy. Ashley told us.
But Ashley didn't tell. Amy's more mad that Ashley didn't tell her about Maria.
Yeah.
And then we go over to Madison, and her and Jack are talking again because, she'll do the deed. And then Amy and Ben have their moment. There's a very awkward hug, and then they're breaking up. Amy's crying.
Well,
Ben
they're
won't break
not
up with her.
breaking up.
Well, I'm there. Amy's crying. Ben won't break up with her. Just kidding, he does. She's basically like, just say it, just say it, just say it. He's like, fine, we're over. So they did. And then Ricky goes up to Amy, and he was like, is this a good time to talk? And she's like, no. And then walks away. And then we get over to Jack and Grace in the hallway, and Jack tells Grace that he's going to date Madison, and she's like, okay, sounds good. And then and then Adrian talks to Grace and awkwardly asks her for the money to fix the window, and she says no.
I like that we never find out how much the window is.
Yeah.
Like, people just keep writing it down on a piece of paper like it's some obscene amount of money.
Yeah, but somehow Grace is able to have that amount of money, so like maybe like $200, I don't know. And then Ricky talks to Bunny about the window again. Is basically like, hey, I told Adrian she gets paid for it, but she's not going to tell her to talk to her dad. Neither one of us can afford it. What can I do? And then she's like, I suggest you talk to Leo about it.
Yeah. And
so then Ben tells Ricky that he wants to talk to Amy about their breakup, and Ricky's like, why would you do that? And then Ricky also mentions to Ben about the window, and Ben decides to give Ricky the window money because they're friends.
Yeah, and he just pulls out all that cash from his wallet.
For fuck's sake. And then we have Adrian is going over to Grace's. This is like the worst, cringiest thing in the world.
It is. I was just like, oh, Jesus, Adrian.
Yeah. So Adrian goes over to Grace's house because apparently she's going to ask for the money again. And Tom is like, Grace isn't here right now. And Adrian kind of sees this as her opportunity to use Tom, who has Down syndromes, crush on her to her advantage, and basically is like, Tom, yes, I have a problem. I was going to ask Grace for a loan. And he's like, I'll do it for you, love, and gives her the money. And she takes it because she's a terrible human being with no morals. And this is called vulnerable adult abuse, and you can go to jail for it.
Yeah.
Though I don't think that law was in place then.
And then it just gets even more cringy when Ricky and Adrian meet up.
Yeah, well, so first, Amy is yelling at Ashley about Ben and basically, why didn't you tell me about Maria? And she...
because you were in a different city and we never talk.
Yeah, and then she exaggerates her relationship with Jimmy, and Ashley's like, you're not dating Jimmy. And then...
Talked for literally 2 seconds in a grocery store.
And then Ashley's talking to George and is basically like, you keep complaining about Mom. Palm Springs is 2 hours away. Go see her.
Yeah.
And then he gets this whole like, oh my god, I could go drive to see her and my fucking kid. And then Amy decides she's going to go see Ben because she wants to have a clean break. And then we're at Adrian going to see Ricky and brings him the money. And then they hook up, and I wrote gross.
Yeah.
And then we're over at, well, basically Ricky was like, I got the money from Ben, don't worry about it. And then we go over to the Bowman's house, and Tammy's parents are there, and I guess Tom broke up with Tammy.
Because he's with Adrian now.
Well, Tammy thinks it's, or they think it's because Tammy won't have sex with him. But he's like, no, it's because I love Adrian. And then Tom tells his family about the money he gave to Adrian. And so Grace is pissed. And then we get to Amy, and she arrives at Ben's house, and Ben is outside making out with Maria. And she acts surprisingly mature and is basically like, nice to meet you, Maria. Good luck. Hope you guys are happy. And then we go to the worst fucking scene of this, to Jack's bedroom.
Before that, though, Maria says some pretty douchey things, and she's like, oh, Amy's just using John to keep you around, just like she does Ricky.
Yeah, because Amy and Ben were basically like, well, I hope we can still be in touch because I want you to see John. Ben's like, cool, I want to see John. Yeah. Then we go to the best scene ever of Jack in his bedroom, dancing by himself, very oddly, super weird, didn't need it to happen.
Yeah.
And then Madison
I googled that song too, and it's an Asher Roth song. Do you remember him? No? He wrote the I Love College song.
The song is worse.
It is.
Not nearly,
especially if you Google the rest of the lyrics.
What were the lyrics? Like, I kind of heard it, but...
This song, the only thing they replayed over and over again was the chorus was, she don't want no man, she just wants to dance.
Okay, dance.
But then the other verses, it's basically just like a guy trying to sleep with this girl, and he tells his friend to go dance with the girl's fat friend so he can have sex with this girl.
Well, it's typical Jack.
Yeah, and then he's mad because she doesn't want a man, she just wants to dance.
Okay, so then Madison comes over and basically is like, hey, I don't want to date you because all I know is you want to date me to have sex, so yeah, we're not doing this. And he's like, it's cool, want to dance? And they weirdly dance, and it's so unnecessary, and I hate it. God.
Yeah.
And then... finally get done with that, and Grace is confronting Adrian about the money, and she's pissed. And then Grace had set Adrian up by telling Ruben about the window, and Grace walks out of the house. Yep. And then all of a sudden Ruben decides to tell Adrian, like, you still need to be friends with Amy.
Yeah, if you ever want any chance of ever being with Ricky, seriously.
Well, he also took
to make
away
friends with his baby mama.
He also took away her car until she does that. Like,
yeah.
How about you take away her car because she was psycho? And then George visits Anne, and it was okay, I guess. And then Adrian wants to apologize to Amy. Looks over the fence at Ashley and has a plate of brownies and was like, hey, is Amy free? I want to give her these brownies. And then we have Ricky and Amy talking, and they all come to the agreement that they are family, and they have a weird moment where Ricky pushes Amy's swoopy bangs out of her face.
Yes. But then we also had Tom apologizes to Tammy in between all of that. George drives to Anne's house.
Wow. I said George visits Anne, and it's cool. Basically, she's still not coming home yet.
No, because her mom is still not doing well, and she's enjoying the time that little Robbie is getting to have with Mimsy, even if it's not the same quality time that the girls got to have with her.
Also, Robbie is a baby, but
yeah, nice. But she said it's still nice to see them together.
Yeah. All right, episode 16. And I titled it...
Just Say Me.
I titled it, I Want Amy's Hair.
Grace makes a new campaign that takes over the school. Adrian tries to continue befriending Amy.
This episode's awful.
It's the worst episode of television ever.
Half an episode of notes. So, basically, it starts with Amy being a spoiled brat and calling all of her family members for water. But George calls her out and was like...
Amy calling everyone for water. Ha 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 ha.
George calls her out and is like, hey, Amy, when you used to do this when you were little, it's because you just really wanted to talk to someone. And she's like, no.
No, my throat hurts. I think I'm getting sick.
Her voice was very raspy this episode. I did notice that.
Yeah, so I think she was legitimately sick.
And then Ben called Ashley to check in on Amy. And Ashley's like, stop calling me about Amy, but if you want to know, she wants water.
She wants a glass of water.
He calls Adrian because he knows Adrian's wanting to make up with Amy and was like, go bring her some water. And she's like, gas or no gas? Bubbles or no bubbles? And then in between that, Tom calls Adrian and she's like, can't talk, I have to bring Amy water. Then Tom calls Jack, which was just, he was basically like, you having sex? And he said no, and he's like, good, haha, or something like.
Yeah.
And then Jack calls Madison and she ignores him. And then we see Adrian coming in with a glass of water. Apparently she's been bringing her stuff all week.
Yeah.
And then Amy's like, or Adrian's like, hey, can you call Ricky right now and tell him that we're friends? So she does. And she's literally like, hey, Adrian and I are friends. Hangs up. And then Ricky goes, this is a bad omen.
Yeah. And then we get to school. And all the girls are talking.
Yeah. Well, first, Madison and Grace both say that they don't want Jack. And they're like, Madison's like, oh, hey, Jack and I aren't dating, so he's all yours. And she's like, oh, no, he's all yours. Like,
she's like, no, I want love in a relationship, not just sex.
Yeah. And so all the girls are talking about Jack being a cheater, essentially, and Ricky cheating stuff. And Grace says, guys wouldn't cheat if they didn't have someone to cheat with. And that brings her into her talk with all the girls about masturbation.
Yes, but she doesn't like that word.
So she says, just say me.
The word.
All the guys notice that the girls are talking, so they send Allison to get the scoop. So Alice goes in, comes out, and is like...
You forgot the best part before Alice goes in. Because she's with Henry, and they have their awkward lick kiss. And it was super gross. It was, yeah. She basically licked his face.
Gross. And then so she goes out and she tells the guys what's about, and they are irritated. And then Joe decides to monetize this and somehow makes like fucking t-shirts, flyers, everything in an hour that say "Just Say Me."
Not even an hour.
Yeah.
And that leads to Grace getting kicked out of Tag.
Yeah. So Jack is talking to
teen abstinence.
So
group.
Jack is talking to Grace about all this. Is like, hey, masturbation's is a sin, and she's like, you masturbate, and then the leader of Tay comes up and is like, you can't be in this group anymore, and she's like, you didn't kick me out when I had sex, and yeah. basically Jack is a creep and he doesn't want girls who are masturbating because apparently it's a one-way street. Henry is not having sex with Alice anymore if she just says me, and Alice is like, okay. And then Adrian and Amy talk about their friendship and John.
Yeah.
Which was a nice moment. And then Ricky goes up to Adrian to get the deets about the masturbation, and he's like, if you're my girlfriend, you're sleeping with me and not yourself. And yeah, so he's stupid. And then Ben and Amy talk about sex and boys, and it was just weird. He's like, I don't know, basically she's like, it's just weird. And then all of a sudden, Shawn Johnson, Olympic gymnast, appears in this episode. Shawn Johnson, the Olympic gymnast, just appears in this episode. Did you not notice that?
Notice.
So she's a short girl that randomly. So she's the short girl that randomly Jack was like, "Hey, Shawn, what do you think about Just Say Me?" And she was like, "Well, I am determined to be my best self." She like basically lies about Just Saying Me. She's like, it's about empowering myself and being the best. And then Alice is like, haha, good joke or good job, Shawn. It was just so random, like for 3 seconds, and just very weird. And then Kathleen appears at the school because she was called because the counselor was notified of the Just Say Me. She's talking to the counselor with Grace.
Hard not to be notified with the giant posters and everything all over school.
Well, I meant Kathleen was notified. So she's talking to the counselor and Grace about masturbation, and Kathleen's like, so everyone at school knows that I talked to you about this and it was my idea. And somehow the school counselor says their punishment is that they both have to clean stickers off.
Yeah.
And Amy and Ashley are talking about masturbation, and Amy's embarrassed to masturbate. And then George walks in and is like, oh my God, my girl, because they stop talking when George walks in. He's like, oh my God, my daughters have a secret. This has been forever. He calls Anne to be all surprised about it. And then Anne's like, they were talking about masturbation. And Anne's like, I think it's good that they're talking about this. This is a good option until they have sex. And then it's a weird montage of every girl in bed beginning to just say me. And then it's like a 4-day flash of like, they're really excited, and it starts to die down and they're bored.
Yeah.
Which I just thought they didn't need to do that because it basically made it seem by the end of the week they all wanted to go back to talking to boys.
But during that montage, we get another awkward dance scene of Adrian dancing while she's studying.
Yeah. What was that song?
The Istanbul was Constantinople, now it's Istanbul, not Constantinople.
So she's studying, that song comes on. And then Amy calls Adrian and invites her over to meet John officially. And then all the girls are talking, or Lauren and Madison are talking about their week. Apparently Madison wrote a book.
About sex. I guess it's like fan fiction.
Yeah. And then a guy comes and asks Lauren out. And then Ben asks Amy about Adrian and their friendship. And then Amy gets a surprise visitor at school, and it's Jimmy. And he heard about the Just Say Me campaign on the news. Decided to visit Amy because he heard she was flicking the bean, and invites her out for dinner.
Yeah. And then before that happened, Madison and Jack run into each other, and they're going to go out. And Griffin is pressuring Ashley into getting a boyfriend as well.
As you can tell, I was very focused.
And Ben runs into a girl at school named Donna who needs some help with her Italian homework, so they're going to get together.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was kind of the last 5 minutes.
It was. So episode 17, I titled, Why Does Everyone Own Blazers?
The second time around, George tries to win Anne back while Ben and Grace connect.
Oh, yes. So this episode starts with Ashley looking at a box of old pictures and letters of George and Anne.
First, it was Amy going into Ashley's room and asking her for a condom.
No, I have that next.
Well, I have that first.
So Amy walks into Ashley's room and she's wearing a very short dress and a blazer. And she asks Ashley, how do I look? And she was like, basically like, you could have sex or something. And that...
You're fuckable.
Oh, yeah, basically. And so then she offers Amy a condom. And Amy takes
from her little velvet bag
that
has condom written on it.
Cute. Probably got it icing by Claire's. And so she takes a condom, puts it in her wallet, and she's like, I'm like a normal teenager now.
Yeah.
And then George comes in and him and Ashley are looking at the old photos and letters now together. And Ashley tells him he tells her the story about proposing and how he would buy her cheap flowers because he was saving for a ring and she knew that. He was like, she would know I would buy her roses, but they're more expensive because yellow roses are her favorite flower. But I would buy her, I don't remember what they're called, basically carnations or something.
It started with a G, yeah.
Yeah, because she knew I was saving for a ring, and he pulls out, or Ashley runs and gets the engagement ring and is like, go bring this back to Mom. So he is getting the idea to do that. And then we go to Amy, and she's on her date with Jimmy, and she keeps calling Ricky to check in on John. And it's also because Adrian's also over there, and she knows that and approved of it. And then we learn that Jimmy's a virgin, and he awkwardly asks Amy if she had sex with Ben, because he knows obviously she had sex with Ricky. And he's like, I'm a virgin. I don't think people should have sex in high school because bad things can happen. And she's like my pregnant baby. Yeah. And then we go over to Ben's house. That was skillful. And Henry and Alice are trying to get Ben to go out. And he's like, I don't want to. And they're like, is it because you're not over Amy? And she's like, no, I'm over Amy. I just want to stay in tonight. So I
like that my note about that scene was Ben being whiny.
Yeah, well, he is. And then Henry and Alice are leaving, and Leo's like, hey, well, first Leo and Betty are making out, and then he's like, calls out Henry and Alice, like, hey, what are you guys going to do tonight? And they're like, well, Ben won't go out. He's like, how about you guys take our car driver out tonight? Like, have fun. And they're like, yeah. And then and then Ben is like, did they leave? And Leo's like, yeah. And I guess Ben got his license that day, and he's going on a date. Ooh. And then we see George nervously driving to Anne, and he has the flowers the cheap flowers he said he used to buy Anne, which is cute. And then Ashley gets a knock on her door, and it's a pizza delivery. And it turns out Griffin she's also on the phone with Griffin, and he's like, hey, I sent you a pizza. And I guess Griffin sent his cousin with a pizza to Ashley. And
I like that her
cute.
Thought was, but I don't have money for a pizza. He's like, just open the door.
I paid for it.
Yeah, and then it's his cousin Grant. Because everyone in his family's name starts with a G.
Yeah, that's what Ashley asks him. And then he's like, wow, you are beautiful. And
yes,
I am going to fall in love with you. And of course she lets him in. And then we get to Amy and Jimmy's date, and they kiss. Ooh. And then we go over to Ricky's house, and Adrian's making Ricky dinner while they're watching John. Ricky's putting John to bed, blah, blah, blah. And then we go see who Ben is going on his date with, and he's at Grace's house, and they can't go anywhere because of the driving laws, but She's wearing a cute dress with a blazer because everyone owns a blazer. And he's all dressed up in a suit. And they are going to just hang out. And then we see George giving himself a pep talk. And all of a sudden, there's a crash. Kind of. It turns out he hit a squirrel. And then he got out of the car to save the squirrel. But the flowers are ruined.
Yeah. You missed something at Amy and Jimmy's date when the gaggle of girls and their dates crash it.
Yeah, they have to talk about dessert.
That is way before any of that.
Dessert.
Yeah, they talk about dessert, and then the gaggle of girls crash, and then we go over to Adrian and Ricky, and then it's Ben and Grace, and then it's the accident with the squirrel.
Okay. And then we're back to Leo and Betty, and Leo tells Betty he wants to have a wedding, and she's like, yeah. And he's like, any wedding you want. And then she said she's going to wear, I don't remember the colors, but it's a weird color for cream because she can't wear, she can't wear white. And then we're back at the restaurant, and Amy's friends crash their date, and they all stay to talk about Ben and Amy and Grace and blah, blah, blah. And then I wrote Lauren and Madison are fucking psycho. And then basically Amy and Jimmy leave. Jimmy paid for dinner for all of them because he's a nice guy. And one of Laura and our masters like, he only paid because that's what Ben would do. Yeah, that's a booty move. Remember when Nick bootied Booty on my birthday? Because we wanted to pay you guys back for helping us with our flat. And yeah, that's great.
I miss that restaurant.
Is it closed, or is it because of everything else?
Well, because I can't go there and get my happy hour margaritas.
Right.
And then walk over next door to the gelato place.
Soon. Maybe soon.
Next summer.
Maybe for my 28th birthday.
Maybe for my repeat of my 30th birthday.
Are you going to turn 30 again?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're just skipping this year. This year doesn't count in anyone's books.
Yeah.
This is the nowhere year.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll let Nick turn 29 next year because we had always said that we would get married when he turns 30, and he turns 30 in March, and I just don't think that's happening.
Probably not.
So we'll do it again.
Anyway, Ashley's talking too much about her family with Grant in the backyard on their date.
Well, first we see Ricky and Adrian doing dishes, and Amy calls again to check in. And then Amy and Jimmy go make out in the parked car. And then and then Ashley is talking to Grant about all of the family drama. And Moose comes in and cock blocks the kiss that was about to happen because Moose has a girlfriend.
Yes, Moose the dog.
Yes. And then George gets to Anne's, and her ex opens the door holding Robbie. But it's not as dramatic because I guess Anne had to go check in on Mimsy, and that's the only person that Anne knows.
She wanted to go for a car ride to settle down, but her nurse was gone.
Yeah. And she wasn't going to call David to come see Robbie because obviously that'd be wrong. And so, because David also is in Palm Springs. So she called her other ex. And this ex informs George that Anne did not have sex in Chicago like Anne lied about to make George jealous. She had just seen this ex-boyfriend's brother, and they called this ex-boyfriend and talked about high school stories.
After they had a few too many drinks at the bar.
Yes, and then George leaves the broken flowers there and was like, can you make sure she gets these? And he kind of looks at them like, okay, dude. Yeah, these are going to win her over. Yeah. But little do we know. And then we go to Ben and Grace's date at Grace's house, and Ben's leaving, and he's a little shy about making the first move, so Grace does it for him. They kiss, and they plan a second date. And then Jimmy and Amy are back from their date. He walks her to the door. She realizes she forgets her purse in his car, so he walks back out to the car. And while he's walking out, Grant's walking out and all that. But when Jimmy opens the door to get the purse, her purse spills out. He's picking it up, and he sees the condom. And he acts like a psychopath and tweaks. And as he sees Grant walking out, he's like, go give this to Amy. And he drives off. And then Grant brings back the purse. And it's a huge ordeal that Jimmy didn't bring back the purse. And yeah. And then Lauren and Madison call Amy because they're like, well, they're on their double date with the guys. It is like, hey, we just want you to know that Ben and Grace went out. And Amy's like, okay, cool. I have other things to worry about. Didn't you have a rule about not having icy drinks while podcasting?
Yeah, but I found out you can't hear mine.
Oh, well, I can hear it right now.
Yeah, but it doesn't pick up on the recording.
Oh. Also, I just got a really weird craving for egg salad.
I always crave egg salad all day, every day.
I've never made it before. And I don't
made
think
my
I have
half-ass broke bitch version.
I don't think I have mustard because would never own mustard. But I feel like that's a staple that you need to make egg salad.
If you like mustard, yeah.
Well, how else could I make it?
Just mayo.
Oh,
maybe some seasonings.
Maybe
some celery or some other veggies you got lying around.
Yeah, that sounds awful. We're doing an every plate meal tonight. So.
Yeah, we're probably doing a HelloFresh meal tonight.
Do every plate. It's a cheap version of HelloFresh. It's made by HelloFresh.
It's not up to me because Taylor likes it, so he pays for it. So,
well, this one's cheaper, and you get 3 meals instead of 2.
We get 3 meals.
Oh, well, it's cheaper. Anywho, so we go to Anne, and her ex is like, "Hey, George came by. I told him the truth. Also, he brought these flowers." And she gets a look on her face like she's so happy.
Oh, for cute.
And then Jack tells Grace about telling Madison that he told Madison about her going on a date with Ben. After Ben had kind of told Grace, like, I want to keep this a secret because I don't want people ruining this for us. And so Grace feels really bad. Oh, and then also in that phone call, Jack calls Grace his girlfriend. And Grace is like, you're not my girlfriend, or I'm not your boyfriend. Why did you just change our... Oh, you changed your...
Yeah. From portrait to landscape.
How do I do that?
I don't know. There was just a little thing on my window that it's a little curved arrow. Now I just see your ceiling.
Yeah.
But I kind of like this better. You can see more of my stuff.
Yeah, I was trying to do that. Where did you see that curved arrow?
I'll send you a picture.
Anywho, and so Grace truth talks him and is basically like, I'll never be with you again because you're a douche. And then Henry and Alice the driver comes back to Leo and Ben's house, and was like, Henry and Alice had me out all night. We went up the Pacific Coast Highway, blah, blah, blah. And Ricky brings John back to Amy's. And Ricky's super nice, and he tells Amy, like, hey, I don't really want you getting down on yourself about Ben because you've been having this big personality change lately. And I thought it was really great. Like, you have confidence.
Are you on your phone? Because then you just might have to turn your phone sideways.
Oh, yeah, I'm on my phone.
I do it on my computer.
Well, I don't have a Mac.
I know.
But now your face is just really big.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's how it should be.
Either way.
I'm the star.
Okay. And then Adrian's parents are engaged.
Hey.
And Anna's back, kind of. She sees that outside of her window, George is talking to another woman because another woman stopped by George's house, and it's the owner of Moose the dog's girlfriend.
It's the sister of the owner.
Okay, sister of the owner of Moose's the dog's girlfriend. It turns out that the dog is pregnant.
Uh-oh.
And it turns out that George
Can't have a
also...
season without someone pregnant.
And then it also turns out George had given this woman all this furniture, I guess. And so they're sitting down having a chat, and Anne sees them talking outside the window, and she thinks, obviously, the worst of George, even though in that conversation...
Because God forbid anybody in this show has an adult conversation.
Yeah, and during this conversation with this woman, George is like, basically says he's happily married.
Yeah. Yeah,
they're just talking about the dogs.
Nothing bad.
Because, his dog knocked up another dog, and there's going to be, like, a litter of puppies. Yeah. So Anna's kind of back. One of the daughters was like, Mom, you're back. And she's like, maybe. How ominous. I think Anne's going through some postpartum.
I know what Anne's going through, but I remember her character. Can't say anything.
Okay, episode 18.
Let's try that again. Amy is concerned when Jimmy doesn't call her, so she seeks Ricky's help.
Woo-hoo-hoo. So Amy said, Amy's talking to her friends, and she's like, yeah, my mom's home, but only if George agrees to go to therapy, which she will never do. And then she also tells her friends that Jimmy hasn't called her back. And then we go from Amy to Adrian, and Adrian's talking to Ricky about having their parents meet because I guess Adrian has this great fucking fantastic idea that Ricky's foster parents should be the witnesses at her parents' backyard wedding.
Yeah, because, they've met and they're all such great friends.
And their children are in a super healthy relationship.
Yeah.
Cool. And Ricky's like, nah, man. And then we see Amy crying about kissing she's crying in the band room. And Ricky walks in and he's like, what's wrong? And she's like, am I a good kisser? And Ricky's like,
you want to practice?
Yeah, do you want to practice? I'll be over this evening. And gives her a wink.
They'll just be like friends.
And gives her a wink.
Yeah.
And then we have Madison going to talk to the counselor, and she's mad because the counselor decided to change the father-daughter dance to a mother-daughter dance, and Madison's like, yo, my mom's dead. And then we get the counselor's like, well, don't you have a stepmom? And she's like, yeah, but she's a bitch. And this is a big thing, so remember that.
Yeah.
And then Lauren comes into the counselor's office, is like, yo, Madison, Teach is looking for you. And then they're talking about moms and stuff. And then Amy comes in, and then they're all talking about
forgot
moms.
The chocolates from France.
Oh, yeah, and the counselor has French chocolate. And then Grace walks into the counselor's office. Or no, never mind. Then we have Grace talking to Adrian in the hallway about Tom, and Grace pushes Adrian. And then I think Grace...
Wow, I really didn't pay attention to this
episode.
I think
Grace goes into the counselor's office, and she's saying that she's mad because I guess Kathleen is engaged now. So basically everyone's parents are engaged. Kind of. And then we go to the butcher shop while Ricky's at work, and his foster mom stops in for some free steaks, and Ricky's like, hey, Adrian's parents want to meet you. And she's like, yeah, cool, I'd love to meet them. I guess they've never even met Adrian?
No.
Cool. Makes sense.
Yeah.
And then we're at the butcher shop, and Ricky asks Ben about Grace and their date, and all good there. And then Ashley and George are at home talking about Anne and going to therapy. And Ashley's like, can you just fucking do it, Dad? I want our family back to normal. And George is like, therapy's not for me. I'm a man.
Even if it's the one thing that could save this family.
No way. And then, Anne and George are talking about therapy, not Ashley and George. Sorry. Anne and George are talking about therapy. And then it just seems like Anne is kind of making up excuses for why they want to go to therapy. And George asks Anne if she really loves him. And she doesn't really give an answer, but she said that she's waiting for someone to say something to make her want to stay. Yeah. And that includes anyone in the family. And then we get over to Ricky and Adrian over at Adrian's house. And Adrian has to be reminded by Ricky that no matter what, Amy is his family because they have a baby together, and him, John, and Amy are all a family. And Adrian doesn't like that because she's fucking paranoid because, you know, she shouldn't be in a relationship with Ricky because they're unhealthy. And then we go to Ashley, and I guess Ashley also hasn't heard from Grant. So first off, to recap, parents are engaged, and boys aren't calling girls back. And Adrian and Ricky still suck. Yeah. And then I think it's Adrian had called Ashley, and they're trying to figure out why Jimmy hasn't called Amy back. And somewhere in that conversation, it goes to sex, and Ashley gets the big realization that Jimmy found the condom, and that's why.
Yeah. Before that, there was Lauren and Amy concocted a plan where George would go to dinner with Lauren's dad, Ken, the therapist.
Oh, yeah. So, yes, they concocted the plan.
In lieu of like a traditional therapy session, they would trick them.
So, during this time now, Amy is talking to George in the kitchen and is like, hey, I have an alternate to therapy. You know, Lauren's dad's a therapist. He does couples therapy. And he's kind of like, why do I want to go to the therapist that Ricky sees? And she's like, Dad, it's my friend's dad. Like, this will maybe get Mom to realize that you're trying.
You're trying.
Yeah, she's like, here's his phone number. Give him a call. She's like, he's another single man. Like, just ask him to dinner. And he's like, isn't this weird?
She also had, like, the sad sentence of, you don't want to be here for dinner anyways, where we all just eat in our rooms and pretend that we don't remember when we used to eat all together at the dining room table.
Sad.
Yeah.
And then we flash over to Lauren talking to her dad about this plan as well, and is like, hey, can't you just go get a free meal and talk to him? Like, it'll help us. And Lauren's mom pops in and is like, just do something nice or something. And they kind of fight. But now we go over to Madison's house. And Madison's working on homework, and her dad and her stepmom peep in. Are like, hey, do you need help? She's like, well, are you good at algebra, to her stepmom? And she's like, yeah. And so it's girl time, and she's like, hey, just so you know, I'm not actually good at algebra. I want to talk to you. And they have a little heart-to-heart. Basically, Madison's always thought that her dad and her stepmom got together before her mom died, and she finally got clarity on that. And because she got clarity, she decides to air all of her grievances and tell her life story and never stop talking to her stepmom. And poor stepmom.
That was a pretty funny, cute scene, though.
Her poor stepmom wishes that she would never fix the relationship. But then at the end of it, Madison asks her stepmom to go to the mother-daughter dance.
Yes. Very sweet.
Yeah. And then we go over to Jack's house talking to his parents, and they're kind of going back and forth on like who Jack should be dating. And his mom is really funny and is basically like, I think you should choose Madison because Grace is basically stuck up and annoying and Madison's fun. Yeah. Because I guess his dad's like pep talking Jack into calling up Madison and breaking up with her so he can go try to win Grace back. Because Jack is a piece of shit. And
you can see that during Madison and her stepmom's chat, Jack keeps trying to call her, but she keeps ignoring calls.
Yes. And then Ben and Leo talk about Grace and his date, and it was nice. And then we get to Lawrence, Dad, and George at dinner together. And instead of George talking about Anne, it's actually Lauren's dad airing out all of his grievances about his ex-wife, in which he keeps referring to her as his wife. And he's like, you know what? Like, she's my wife. Like, I married her once I had kids. Like, I have to deal with her. She's my wife.
We were together for 20 years. She gave me 2 kids.
Yeah.
She's my wife.
So basically, it seems that, like, he's still in love with her.
I'm sure there's always going to be love there.
Yeah.
Just know they don't work well together anymore.
And then we get to Amy's practice scene with Ricky and us. They're about to kiss. So it's Amy's back is to the door and Ricky's facing the door, and they're about to lean in, and Ashley sees.
Amy's eyes are closed too.
Yeah.
Because she's like, I can't kiss you. This is too weird. And he's like, just close your eyes. I'll do all the work.
Yeah. And then so Ricky's leaning in, and Ashley sees, and she gets mad and walks away, but doesn't say anything. And Ricky shrugs and is like, oh, well. And they start making out, and they both get into it. And then Ben goes to Grace's, and Jack is there. She sees, I guess it turns out
because Grace hadn't been calling Ben, and Ben hadn't been calling Grace.
Yeah, so basically Ben hadn't been calling Grace. So then he was calling Jack, and Jack didn't answer, and then he saw Jack's truck there. So he goes in, Kathleen answers the door. It turns out Grace has been really upset about Kathleen and the engagement, and so basically Jack came over to try to fix things too, but during that talk, Grace told Jack that she likes Ben and doesn't want to date Jack. And so Jack tells Ben that, which is great. And then Ben leaves, doesn't see Grace, but Grace and Kathleen have a chat, and basically they finally talk and air everything out, and Grace tells Kathleen that she hasn't been calling Ben because she doesn't want Ben involved in their messy life. And Kathleen's like, yo, Leo's engaged to Betty, your brother's online hooker. Like, they have their own drama too. Like, stop worrying about everyone else.
Family's messed up, and Adrian's family's messed up. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah, and so that was good. And then we go over to the Jergens house, and Ashley and Anne are having a talk. And Ashley's talking to Anne about George, and she basically really asks her mom to stay, and Anne's like, I really don't know, like. And then Ashley's like, well, basically, they talk about, like, how there's teams in their family, like how it's always Ashley and George and Anne and Amy. And she's like, Mom, like, we have these teams because we're the strong ones, and you're taking care of Amy because Amy's a mess, and I'm taking care of Dad. Like, I thought we were the center stones of this family. And she's like, I don't have to ask you to the mother-daughter dance because, like, Amy's the one that needs you. She's like, but will you stay and go with me? And she's basically telling Anne, like, will you please stay? And then she finally is like crying, is like, I want you to stay because I love you.
Yeah.
And that was a moment.
And a callback to the beginning of the episode where Anne was just waiting for someone to say something to make her stay, because I think that's going to make her stay now. Hearing her quiet, strong daughter break down and say, but I love you, Mommy.
It's meaningful. So that was that.
Yeah, we'll finish off season 2 next week.
Thank God. We weren't that cheery this week, but this week, like, to talk about these episodes just were so useless because it should have just been like 2 episodes. And sorry for the lack of entertainment, guys, but, like, I could not get excited over this week because it all just kind of sucked.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, nothing really happened.
I mean,
just
the only
lots of
good
people
thing,
getting together and then breaking up.
Yeah, and they, like, try to make the thing with the masturbation, and it just, like, didn't hit the mark.
No, because they did it so cringy.
And, like, maybe it's because I'm, like, 27 and this is about 10 years old or 11 years old that I'm like, cool. They also, like, talked in the episodes, too, about, like, how, like, Kathleen's mom talked about masturbation, and everyone's like, our moms had never talked to us about this and stuff, and it's like, I don't think it's like a big thing to talk to girls, like daughters, about masturbation. Like it's always like guys doing it.
I don't know if anybody in their families openly talks about it.
One, I think it's like mostly like guys when they hit puberty because they're having like morning wood
I think it's
and like
or mostly for them because they have a mess afterwards, so then it
yeah,
becomes
that
a problem of
like I
where
think
they're
of like
disposing of that mess.
yeah, like I think of like wet dreams and like morning wood and like yeah,
I don't
it's
even
just
think about that. I think about on other
well
shows
yeah,
where
like
it's like a
mess
joke
lips and stuff.
of the kid who flushed all the socks or something, and now their
Yeah,
plumbing's backed up, or the mom
it's
is finding
more
crusty socks.
yeah, it's more of an event.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Anyway, how was your week and weekend?
It was good. I mean, Thursday we Skyped as a fam for mom's birthday, as you know.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, as I said, as you know. I've been so tired, but also like not being able to sleep. So like, what did we do Friday? Friday, we ordered in Buffalo Wild Wings because we had our therapy appointment at 7, so we knew we couldn't eat. So we ordered some Buffalo Wild Wings. I was only doing it because we got a gift card from Nick's family for my birthday and Nick's birthday, but they wouldn't let me use 2 forms of payment online, so I still didn't get to use it. Saturday, we went over to Kelsey and I's friend Maria's husband had his birthday party, so we went over to their house for a bonfire. We all just sat around a fire for 2 hours because we're old, and then by that time it was 11 o'clock at night. Or it was like 10:30, and we're like, well, it's time to go home.
Yeah.
And Sunday, watched Secret Life. Prepped my Finnegan for his vet appointment. We had to go. We were trying to do like, because he gets so traumatized, like getting ready to go to the vet, like putting him in the cage and like going there. So they're like, well, to help his anxiety, you can give him medicine. So we did, and it didn't really do anything for him.
Yeah.
So then we brought them to the vet Monday, 7 a.m. drop off. Had to go get them, and turns out my cats are overweight. Finn had a cavity, and I guess when cats have cavities, their teeth like recedes back into the gums. It's like it doesn't fall out, it just like goes back in. Which is super weird, because yeah, like they get their dental cleanings and they're like, oh, he had a tooth missing this time. Then they had to do an x-ray, and that's what they found. So it's weird. So now I have to order like cat toothbrushes.
Yeah, we gave up on that with Frank.
Yeah, we give them like the greenies treats to help their breath, but it doesn't really do much. But it looks like Finn's or Bean's getting some bad teeth too.
Yeah,
so
the cat toothpaste isn't going to do anything for their breath. Just wait until you smell it.
yeah, it's malt
It's
flavored.
disgusting.
Yeah, the stuff I bought on Chewy's like malt flavored. And then my cats are fat, I guess. They tested Finn's heart. I guess we'll find out soon. They did like blood work, so I don't know. So the thing is that Nick's phone number is on the account, and so he gets the calls, and like he's the person that gets talked into all of the testing for everything because he's like so afraid of everything. And I'm like, no, we don't need all of these extra X-rays and blood work done and everything. But he's the one that like gets.
We do it all too. I paid $1,000 to basically find out that Frank had gas.
Well, and stuff like that, like, yeah, but like, I don't know. I don't think we need to do all the additional blood work testing because it was like, what was it? It was for like, well, so we thought he had a UTI because he's been going outside of the box again, even though like I'll clean the box every day and it's in one specific spot. And there hasn't been any like behavioral changes with him. So we thought he was having a UTI. And like, I'm going to buy this litter box that he pees next to is like a smaller one. So I'm going to get another jumbo one because we have like 2 other jumbo ones because we have 3 litter boxes. But basically they're saying that like his urethra can be getting inflamed or something. And like, then they attributed that to like him maybe having like a heart condition and like, I don't know. It just seemed like a lot of like, I think, because Finn only pees outside of the box. It's like, because I'm home every day 24/7. And it's only around the times when Nick leaves for work. So I think he's just mad that someone's leaving.
Yeah, that could be too.
Yeah.
Because
so,
Apple will do that sometimes. If we like leave dirty clothes out, he'll pee on the clothes. Or if we leave a blanket on the couch, he'll pee on the blanket. There's no rhyme or reason to it.
Yeah. And it's in the same spot every time. So like, I've been buying puppy pads. So I just put the puppy pad there and he pees on that. Like, so at least it's not going on the carpet. But like, I was like, I don't think we need to do all this additional blood work test. Which I mean, whatever.
It's just
good.
Peace of mind.
Yeah. So we dealt with that, and then they were all pissed because Finn gets sedated for his appointment. So when he came back yesterday, he just was like very out of it. And Bean was like freaking out, and like I said in our text with Mom, that he was like for an hour and a half, he was just like strutting around our apartment, like just talking. And I was like, "Are you telling us everything that happened?" Like he wasn't like mad or anything. He was just like walking around like. Rah, 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 rah. And then, like, he would check and make sure that we were still there and then, like, rub his head on us and then, like, keep going. I'm like, you got so much to say, little man. What did you do?
I got some roller skates on Friday.
Oh, yes, you did, for your anniversary.
Yeah, me and Taylor's anniversary present. He bought us roller skates so we can go skating.
What were they? So they're, like, low cut. They're like
shoes.
Yeah.
Taylor, I guess, did a lot of research before buying me this gift because I told him I wanted roller skates because, you know, my roller skating party got canceled. Yeah. So I guess he, like, even went onto Reddit and was, like, asking people, like, what are good outdoor beginner skates?
That's so cute. Like, I would just, like, Amazon roller skates and, like, okay, that's prime.
Yeah, and I guess, well, because it's hard. Like, I don't know if you've ever tried to buy roller skates in your life, but no. I was looking at them. Like a month ago, and they're, one, really expensive.
And they're not rollerblades. Like, clarify that these are roller skates and not rollerblades.
Yeah, these aren't inline skates. These are 4 wheels skates. And they're sold out everywhere, which is the other hard problem.
Yeah, because everyone's taking up a hobby right now.
Yeah, but he found these, and I guess they're really good for beginners. Yeah, so we've been trying to try those out. We went outside for the first time yesterday in them.
You guys, like, can you just do them in your kitchen right now?
We have been just doing them around the house. It's also been raining a lot here, a lot of storms like you guys have been having too. And we're going to wait until our helmets get here before we do any
Did you get, like, elbow pads and knee pads?
We're going to get those too.
Good. And the sweatband.
Because when you haven't skated for like 20 years, it's not like riding a bike.
Oh my God. No, I think it was probably like after freshman year of college, like that summer before. I was hanging out with a girl that I was moving into my next townhouse with that summer because her boyfriend's dad lived in Montrose. And she was like, do you want to go roller skating for exercise? Because, you know, like that road from Montrose to Buffalo has the walking path. So she's like, let's go roller skating there. And I was like, I haven't roller skated since I was like 6. And I just tried. And like, I just couldn't do it. Like,
yeah, I can't do inline skating anymore. I have no idea how I used to do that. So I was like, let's get skates. And they are easier than inline skates, but I'm still like a baby giraffe.
Did I ever actually skate with you and Mom? Like, did I just bike? Like, I don't feel like I actually ever rollerbladed.
You might have, because we used to go to that roller rink in Monticello a lot.
Right, that.
So you might have there. But I don't think you did when we would go outside. I think you were too young.
Yeah, because then I remember Mom had that friend whose daughter was roller skating, and she just like ripped her legs up.
Yeah. Ugh. Yeah, so we're going to order some helmets and pads, and then we'll venture out of our parking lot.
Oh, good. I just like
right now I need, and then I also got thinking like maybe this was easier because at the roller rink you have the walls all around you, but when you don't have anything,
and it's also even ground, smooth, even ground.
Yeah, not an actual totally different rodeo.
Yeah, not good.
So we've been doing that.
Did they open your pool up?
I haven't heard anything. They keep pushing it off. I don't think they will because we're just spiking here again.
They opened our pool up, but it's like we've never had like a supervised ever. So they're like saying that it's like at 50% capacity. Like you can't bring
there to monitor that.
Exactly. And like you can't like I can't bring guests in to be there. But I also like I wanted just to go because they have a lot of like laying out chairs, and they're like, yeah, if you go, you should bring your own Lysol wipes and stuff. So I just wanted to go to layout, but like because we have so many kids in our complex that like
they're all there right now
because they're all bored, and now it's finally something to do. Like
I'm sure that's how ours would be too, because ours is a neighborhood pool. The HOA runs it, and there's a lot of families here too. So I'm sure that'll be where all the kids are now. That
yeah, so we have like the 5 complexes, and like they opened up one of the beaches down the street from us, Shady Oak Beach, which is like in the Minnetonka Lakes system, where like normally you have to have a membership to pay to go there, or like pay a daily fee. Yeah. And it's like super nice. Like it has like concession stands. Like they usually have like those obstacle courses, like inflatable obstacle courses and stuff like that. But this summer there's no like no lakes in Minnesota or beaches have lifeguards on duty. They took out like the concession stand, all the toys and stuff in the lake. So it's just beach. And so I guess, and you don't have to pay to go. So I'm thinking that's probably awful there too.
I'm sure.
I thought they had closed all the Minneapolis lakes. So I saw like people are at like Lake Nokomis and like
they closed a lot of the big ones.
Calhoun. No, Bidet, Makaska or whatever. And
like I said, a lot of the big ones, but not all.
Those are open. No, those are open.
Yeah. Like I said, a lot of the big ones, but not all.
Yeah. Well, I thought those ones would be closed.
But you would think.
But Edina is getting a mask rule, and Rochester did. Minnetonka and St. Paul do.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Boulder does. I don't really pay attention. I just wear it everywhere anyways.
Yeah. I'm surprised.
Got my hair done this weekend.
You did. I got mine done 2 weeks ago. I got mine done on the 22nd, so yeah.
It's the blondest I've ever been.
It looks kind of like, I mean, I can see it how it is right now, but the top is still dark.
Yeah. We're getting there, you know. When you're a brunette, you can't go blonde in one session. It'll take 2 to 3.
Well, I still can't either go that light in one session. Like this is my 3rd session, and I'm trying to go like icier. Like I'm never going to go like fully like one full color blonde, but I've been doing, so my first appointment was a full balayage. My second appointment was a partial foil or full foil. And this one last time was a full balayage. So then my next one will be a foil.
Yeah, my one in December was balayage. This one was half foil, half balayage. We did foils throughout, and then in between the foils, we did balayage.
That's why I did my second one, yeah.
Yeah, and then the next one is going to be kind of smoothing everything out. Yeah.
It's fun. It's a long, and they're long appointments too.
Yeah, I was there for 6 hours.
They smell really bad. Did you get your purple shampoo?
No, she didn't say I needed that.
That's a once a week thing.
Well, I only wash my hair once a week.
Well, yeah, I wash mine like 2 or 3 times a week. 2 weeks. But once a week, do the purple.
No, I have this.
Well, you probably wouldn't do once a week.
Recommended.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because your roots too, you don't want to tone. Because purple shampoo's toner. Well, it's mostly toner, so you wouldn't want to do that.
No, because my hair's all kind of colors right now. We didn't use any dye in the last session on my roots. We just blended everything in, which was kind of nice. She's like, no, we'll just blend your gray in and it'll be blonde. I'm like, all right, if you say so. And yeah, I can't tell I have gray, so I guess it's blended in. But yeah, we're working on cooling so it's not a warm blonde, because I told her I like the white blonde. So we're cooling and frying. And then what else? I've just been continuously rewatching The Good Place. I'll watch it in a day and then just restart it the next day. I've been doing that for the last couple
I
of weeks.
did watch The Politician. That is what I did.
Yeah.
Because I thought I finished the first season. But it turns out I watched like 4 episodes, but missed one in between. I must have taken a nap my first time around. Because the first time I watched it, I ended at the election. And then this time I watched the first season, and then I watched the second season. And so, yeah, that was great. I don't know, like, how I feel about the ending of the second season yet.
I know that's what Brooke texted me. She's like, either next season is going to be like the women power season, or it's going to be with him doing the vice presidency.
I think it's going to be the vice
Spoiler
president.
alert.
I feel like
he's going to be a mixture. I think we're going to see the presidency with his mom.
And I think she's going to ruin things.
You think she's going to ruin things? I think
it'll be weird.
Yeah, I think it'll be great, but she'll get bored of it. And then the vice president will kind of take over things. And during that time, Ben Platt will be just debating the whole time, do I want to run or not? And then at the end,
do you think she'll quit? Do you think she'll quit, or do you think like someone's going to try to impeach her?
Oh, I don't think she'll be impeached. I mean, she had like an over 90% approval rating.
That's true.
But that was just in California. Maybe she'll get assassinated.
Oh, that'd be sad.
Because the rest of the country doesn't want to be like California.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I feel like there's going to be something about like how hard it was for her to get elected, and maybe that other governor or whoever other senator will become president. Maybe the vice presidency for him will become sooner than expected, and he's going to still want to try to stay in New York and fix New York, and that's going to be his debate. Is if he's ready to be vice president or if he wants to stay and fix things.
Well, we'll find out in a couple of years.
Yeah. It's going to be a while.
Yeah. And I don't know what else I've done. I watched Baby's Day Out this morning. That was great. Hadn't seen that movie in 20 plus years. Made me think about how the late 80s and early 90s were a really weird time for film, and how there were a lot of movies centered around babies.
Yeah, like Baby Geniuses.
Baby Geniuses, The 3 Men and a Baby, Baby to Stay Out.
Mm-hmm.
Weird.
Also, like the whole Honey, I Shrunk the Kids series.
Yeah. And Home Alone.
That was a good one. Flubber. I don't know, I just felt like Flubber needed to be in there. Or like the Indian in the Cabinet kind of thing. Like kids were just like doing some weird shit back in the day. Yeah. We don't have movies like that anymore. That's how Nick was talking too about Christmas movies. He said 90s Christmas movies were the only good ones.
Yeah, you don't really have anymore.
Yeah, because like
then you had the Santa Claus, you had Jingle All the Way,
I'll Be Home for Christmas.
Yeah,
Jonathan Taylor
Grinch. Thomas. The Best Grinch came out then.
Family Vacation or Christmas Vacation.
I think that was 80s, but yeah, same time zone, late 80s,
but
early
like,
90s.
Yeah, like, because I mean, I don't like Elf isn't my favorite. Like I do like the live version of The Grinch, but that's early 2000s. But they just don't make movies like that anymore. Like where it's like good fun. Like the whole premise of I'll Be Home for Christmas is like he realizes he needs to spend time with his family.
No, they're too busy dumping their money into the superhero franchises.
Yeah, like we need some wholesome content. And there's no
like A24 to make some family Christmas movies.
Yeah.
But then it'll just end in like, an existential crisis of like, what does Christmas really mean?
Like I'm ready for like Justin Long and Joseph Gordon-Levitt to be dads in movies and have like wholesome movies.
I like that those were your two ones. Very
well,
random
I was thinking
people.
Of A24 movies, like the Justin Long Walrus movie or whatever.
Your thing did that thing again where I didn't catch any of that.
I was thinking of the Justin Long movie, WALL-E, where he becomes the walrus.
It's called Tusk. WALL-E is a great animated movie about robots and the destruction of Earth.
Great movie, too. Yeah, I'm thinking of Tusk. Like, so I was thinking
That
about
was an A24
A24.
movie.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking of.
Did you watch that ever?
Yeah, Nick and I watched it when we first started dating. So we had watched it at his mom's house, and we were both very stoned and like
That's the only way to watch that movie.
not a good way to watch that movie.
That's a perfect way to watch that movie.
First,
That's
we were fighting
exactly what Kevin Smith would want.
First, I didn't realize that it was Johnny Depp in it.
Yeah.
And I was fighting with him about it.
And
like,
Haley Joel Osment.
Yes. But we had started watching it. We didn't really know what it was going to be about.
Yeah, that's how I went into it too.
Sudden, like I was like, oh, it's going to be like a good movie about him like trying to get out of this house and like everything will work out fine. And then all of a sudden, fucking walrus shit. And then he's getting turned into a walrus. Like, and I was just like waiting.
Blows your mind.
And then all of a sudden, like I was waiting for someone to come save him, and like it wouldn't ever get as far as it got.
No.
But then also like they couldn't fix him, and now he lives in a zoo. Well, first he lived in the backyard, and then they got moved to the zoo, and like his girlfriend and his best friend are now together, and they go and visit him.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so sad.
But you can say that's honestly like the most original movie you've ever seen in your life.
It's very true. It's very true. I'm really surprised there's been no Oscar buzz. Like that.
Yeah.
Like the character, like the fact that Justin Long was the walrus. Like he really embraced
that. A movie like that can make you cry at the end.
Yeah.
As you see him,
oh my
the
god,
walrus Justin Long with that one tear coming down his walrus cheek. Yeah,
I think besides the Hamilton break or Hamilton special episode that we need for Cardboard Empire, we also need a Tusk special episode.
I don't know if I could get Brooke to rewatch that.
I don't know if I could rewatch it.
That was literally when we first started our Friday movie night date nights. That was the first movie we watched. Oh, because God. That's what sparked me. Because I watched it years ago.
Yeah.
And then it like came back into my head this year, and I was like, I wonder if Brooke has seen this. And then she said she hasn't. And I was like, okay, you need to see this, but I need to watch you watch this.
I don't remember how we like found it. Did you tell? You must have told me to watch it.
I know I did, because I like when I was watching it for the first time, I was sending snaps out to everyone, and I was like, "This is the craziest movie I've ever seen."
Yeah, you must have told me to watch it, because I don't know. Like Nick and I would never have decided to watch it just by going through like on demand. So you must have told me.
When did you and Nick start dating?
The end of April 2018. No, yeah, it's been 2 years. So we watched it that summer, and it was before we moved here.
It was maybe like around that time then.
Yeah, it would have been like June, July 2018.
I was living here when I first watched it.
Yeah.
So yeah, could have been I had sent you that message of this is the weirdest movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, we watched it.
And it's on Netflix for free. Go watch it, everyone.
Yeah, that's why, yeah. So good.
Did you ever finish The Umbrella Academy?
No, I like fell asleep during the first episode. That's what I need to do too.
July 31st, the second season comes out.
I'll just watch it all like I did The Politician.
I know, I need to watch that again. I'll probably watch that like 2 more times before it comes out.
Kelsey really likes it too.
Oh yeah, it's excellent. And it's written by Gerard Way.
Oh, it is? That's probably why she watched it.
Yeah, because it's comic books first. He wrote the comics.
Speaking of Gerard Way, I'm trying to talk Kevin into going to Riot Fest.
Good luck.
So we can split the price of the hotel. I'm excited for the next wave of announcements to come. Because the lineup is already pretty amazing.
I know.
As is. And they're doing it like an extra day. It's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic.
Well, you only get to go to the Thursday show if you buy your tickets before July something this year.
Oh, well, we get to go to the Thursday show. If we want, because that means we have to go there earlier.
I know, because we'll probably already be flying in that day, so will we feel like going that night?
Yeah, it depends on who the show
Depends
is.
who's there.
Yeah. I feel like it's over a year away.
Well, like I said, this year doesn't count. Did you watch The Good Place ever?
I watched the first two. I got to where, spoiler alert, they realized the good place is the bad place.
Okay, that's the end of the first season.
Oh.
Another show you should add to your list, because now I can't even say my relevant thing about this year.
Yeah.
But if any of you are listening are Good Place fans, then I'll say it, because to me, this year is the dot of the I of Jeremy Bearimy. And you won't understand that until you watch The Good Place. It's really short and really good.
Yeah. He needs to get his ass inside and make me some dinner.
I know. I have this bad habit of eating lunch at 3 p.m. so that I'm never hungry for dinner.
When did I eat? I ate at 1. I had to go put cash in the bank today. Like,
why?
Olden days. Because I don't know if you've gotten your present from the parents yet, but they gave me cash for my birthday, and I had some other cash, and my account was close to 0, so I needed to go deposit funds.
Yeah, Neil sent me cash in that package too, saying happy birthday, and I was like, you're a few months late.
Well, so it turns out he was trying. Him and Mom have been fighting about it. He was trying to send you cash for your birthday, but Mom closed the card.
Oh.
And she doesn't really tell him when she's sending other presents.
Yeah, I just had like 2 loose 20s wrapped in a note that said happy birthday.
Yeah, and so when I was there for my birthday, Father's Day, he handed me my card and he's like, don't tell Jenny she's getting cash. And then I was like, and then Mom was sending you the book and stuff. So he put it in there.
Yeah.
Going there this weekend and next weekend. 2 weekends in a row I'm going there.
Wow.
Yeah, Nick got 4th of July.
So much leaving your homeness.
Well, I have Kelsey's bridal shower next weekend, and I have to go get my dress altered the Saturday.
Got my invitation to her wedding today. I'm surprised she even sent me one.
I don't think she sent them.
Well, she said she prepared them, and then Gina and whoever took over sending them.
Yeah. Well, you're still invited. You just have to say no.
I know, but I already said no to her weeks ago.
She's already stressing out about not getting RSVPs yet, and I was like, yeah. All right, I have to pee. As I do at the end of every episode, so it's time to wrap up for Callie's bathroom break.
Okay.
Thanks for listening, guys.
We'll see you back next week for the end of season 2.
Get your absentee ballots applied for.
Get your absentee bullets for the incoming Civil War.
That too. I'm more of a bayonet person, but
I ordered another practice butterfly knife this week because my old one was getting kind of stiff, so it didn't really flick as well as it should.
Grace Moritz inspiring kick-ass people in the world. What happened to her?
She did that movie a couple of years ago.
That woman with the purse.
Oh, I wasn't talking about that one. I was talking about the gay conversion camp movie.
Oh yeah, I started watching that and I couldn't finish it.
It wasn't very good quality, but
okay. No, she was in the movie. Oh fuck, what was it?
Yeah, called? I remember the other one where the woman's trying to kill them.
Where she leaves the purse everywhere, and then yeah,
I never.
That's
saw
a good movie. Oh, it's a good one. But I like her.
Yeah, I think she's just been chilling
after David Beckham's son. They kept breaking up, cheating. Finally ended it.
Yeah, I think she's just been chilling. She worked her whole childhood, so maybe she wanted a break.
Literally. She deserves one. All right, I'm going to make some pork chops and pee. Bye, guys.
Ew. Bye.